Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, and we are here with the 4th episode of our Navratri series. This is part 4, where we will be discussing night 7 and 8, so get ready to dive into the stories of two powerful goddesses. So let's dive right into the story now. Scene 1. Mahishasura still roared in arrogance. Even after facing 6 divine forms of Durga, he stood unbroken. The gods trembled, the world shook, but the goddess was far from done. Her most fearsome and radiant nights were about to begin. Scene 2. On the 7th night, Durga transformed into Kalratri, the destroyer of darkness. Her skin was dark as the midnight sky. Her hair fell wild and untamed, a stark contrast to the usual images of feminine beauty. Her 3 eyes blazed like fire, burning away ignorance and illusion. From her breath burst flames that scorched the earth, symbolizing her power to purify and consume evil. She rode a humble donkey, an unlikely mount for such a fierce goddess, emphasizing that power can be found in the most unexpected places. Yet her mere presence shook mountains and made the earth tremble. In her hands, she carried a sword, a trident, and an iron hook, each a tool of destruction in the hands of a master. As she stepped onto the battlefield, the demons froze. They had faced many of Durga's forms, but none so terrifying, so otherworldly. The ground cracked beneath her steps as she walked. Lightning split the sky. Thunder roared like drums of doom. It was as if nature itself was in awe and fear of this dark and radiant being. With every swing of her sword, legions of demons fell, their dark forms consumed by the flames that danced around her. Her roar shattered their courage, their weapons useless against her divine power. She moved with the grace of a dancer, striking with the speed of lightning. No demon could withstand her wrath. None could escape her fiery embrace. She was Kalratri, the personification of destruction, the darkness that devoured all evil, leaving only light in her wake. Yet to the righteous, she was a protector, a shield against the darkness. To her devotees, she was a mother, fierce and loving, ready to annihilate any threat that dared approach them. But the demons were not the only ones who feared Kalratri. Even some of the gods were intimidated by her awesome power. They had seen her dance of destruction, the way she consumed everything in her path without remorse or pity. Could this be the end of the world? Was this the fate of all existence, to be devoured by the very goddess who was supposed to protect it? But as the battle raged on, and the 7th night wore on, something strange began to happen. The more demons Kalratri destroyed, the more her own darkness grew. It threatened to consume her, to turn her into the very evil she was fighting against. She could feel the abyss within her, the insatiable hunger for destruction that seemed to have a life of its own. Fear gripped her heart. Was she losing control? Would she become the monster she was meant to slay? But just when her resolve began to falter, when the darkness within her threatened to overwhelm her, a single flower fell from the sky. It landed on her outstretched palm, a splash of color in the monochrome world of battle. Startled by the unexpected sight, Kalratri looked up, and in that moment, she saw not the darkness, but the light shining through it. She saw the beauty of the world, the laughter of children, the love of parents for their children, the bond of friendship, the pursuit of knowledge. She saw the goodness that was worth protecting, the light that she was meant to preserve. And in that moment, Kalratri knew what she had to do. She had to fight not just for the sake of destruction, but for the sake of creation, not just out of anger, but out of love. And with that realization, she became one with the darkness, embracing it, controlling it, using it to fuel her righteous wrath. And then she struck a final blow, a blow that consumed all darkness and evil, leaving only light and peace in her wake. But the story does not end there, for after the darkness comes the light, After the storm comes the calm. After destruction comes creation. And so, as the 8th night fell, Durga took on a new form, a form of purity, serenity, and hope. She became Mahagauri, the radiant one. After the storm of Kalratri came the calm of Mahagauri. On the 8th night, Durga revealed a form, pure and gentle. Her skin glowed like the full moon, white as snow, illuminating the darkness with her radiance. Clad in white, she rode upon a white bull, majestic and serene. Her eyes were pools of moonlight, reflecting wisdom and tranquility. Her face was an image of compassion, free from any trace of anger or sorrow. In one hand, she held a trident, a symbol of her power to conquer the 3 worlds. In another, a damaru that echoed divine harmony, reminding everyone of the rhythm of life and the music of the spheres. Her very presence brought peace to the weary warriors, solace to the grieving mothers, and strength to the fallen. She was Mahagauri, the embodiment of purity, the personification of hope. She walked among the mortals, not as a warrior, but as a healer, touching their wounds with her divine light and washing away their pain. She forgave their sins, not because she thought them beyond redemption, but because she knew they were capable of greater things. She freed their minds from the shackles of fear, replacing it with faith and courage. She taught them that even in the darkest of nights, the dawn will eventually break. Even after enduring the fiercest storms, the sun will eventually shine through the clouds. With her blessings, they started anew, leaving behind the wreckage of the past and embracing the promise of the future. But not all wounds could be healed by her touch. Not all hearts could be won over by her grace. For some, the scars ran too deep, the pain too intense. They had lost too much, suffered too long to believe in anything beyond their immediate suffering. They questioned her methods, doubted her intentions, and rejected her help. They clung to their bitterness, convinced that it was the only thing keeping them alive. Mahagauri understood their pain. She saw the torment in their eyes, the anger in their hearts, but she did not judge them. Instead, she offered them a choice between darkness and light, between despair and hope, between hate and love. She showed them the futility of their anger, the destructiveness of their hate, and the hopelessness of their despair. She reminded them of their strength, their resilience, and their ability to love. And slowly, very slowly, she began to turn their hearts. She made them see that true strength lay not in their physical prowess or their material possessions, but in their capacity for compassion, empathy, and forgiveness. She showed them that real courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph of hope over fear. That true happiness was not the absence of sorrow, but the ability to find joy in the midst of sorrow. That real love was not the absence of hate, but the courage to love despite the presence of hate. And so Mahagauri continued her mission, healing the sick, comforting the dying, blessing the newborns, teaching the young, and guiding the old. She became the light that guided the lost, the hope that sustained the hopeless, and the love that bound the broken. And as the 9th night approached, the people looked up to her, not as a goddess, but as a mother, not as a warrior, but as a friend, not as a savior, but as one of them. For Mahagauri was not just a goddess. She was humanity. She was the best and worst of humanity, the light and darkness of humanity, the hope and despair of humanity. She was humanity striving to be its best, to be the light, the hope and the love in the world. But Mahishasura still stood tall. His arrogance burned brighter than ever, and the goddess had one final form left, the power that would end the war once and for all. But that, dear viewers, will have to wait till tomorrow. Join us then as we bring you the grand finale part 5, the final victory. Until then, let the anticipation build. Let the legends live on, and let the spirit of Navratri light up your lives. Take care and see you soon.